What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of the RTG career mode. It's episode number 9 as a brand new season begins today. Our second year at home park, staying in the championship after losing the playoff finals to Norwich last season. As the summer window gets underway for our second year with Plymouth, our starting budget for our rebuild year is going to be... No, that's Academy, Doxy boy, what up mate? It's going to be... 8 million, which is about what I was expecting. We left about 1.5 mil in the budget last season. We've let a few players go on freeze to get their salaries off the books. I'd say that's realistic and fair. And so as we quickly advance one day in the calendar to make sure all of the deals have gone through, we will now take a look at our squad for the upcoming season, and there's no doubt about it. We're going to need to make some signings because we barely got enough to make a bench. So obviously last season we did a great job with Plymouth. Our first year at home park, I said the ceiling for us in our first year was playoffs. We got there, and whilst it was gutting to lose a final, it's always gutting to lose a final. At the end of the day, this is not an amazing Plymouth team, so we've got there is a good achievement on its own merit. But with only 20 first team players in the squad, we didn't make a single signing last season. We certainly will make a few this year in what will be our rebuild year at home park. There's a few players that deals that come at the end of the year as well, which I'll probably look to extend, including Connor Hazard between the sticks, who won the Golden Glove last year. Paulson is retiring, so I can't do anything about that. I'm undecided on whether I'll give Brendan Galloway a new contract or not. Callum Wright's definitely going to get one though, as is Adam Randall, who of course has that 7-month injury. But yeah, there's a lot of players here, including Morgan, that need a new contract, and that's the first thing I will do, as Horvath's had a potential downgrade, but thankfully Kante is not. Hang on, did Janos? I think Janos still had the... Oh, how do you downgrade Janos? He was great last season, but thankfully at least Kante still had potential to be special. But that's the first order of business for me. Look at all these players that deals that come at the end of the year. I'm going to give new contracts to definitely Adam Randall, no doubt about that. He's a really solid midfielder, and whilst he's got that long-term injury, he'll certainly have a part to play in our team during the course of the season. Callum Wright's going to get a new deal. I really like him through the middle of the park as well. With Forshaw going, we'll definitely need some more quality in that CM role. And of course, I'm going to give Morgan Whittaker a new contract as well. He's good enough for the Premier League, but he's not going anywhere, man. He's got to help us get promoted to the Premier League. But as for Brendan Galloway and Connor Hazard between the sticks as well, I'm not too sure about those guys. And so, of course, with the lack of money we've got to work with, there's no doubt about it. I mean, there's enough for maybe like 1 or 2 transfers, but the best thing to do when you've got a small transfer budget, you know it, I know, scour those freebies. So I'm gonna get myself a cup of tea, and I think I'm gonna spend about half an hour looking for the best free agents now. Alright, so I've got a massive list of free agents I can go after here, but as we know in career mode, AI clubs sign players that are available on a free transfer very, very quickly. So when you find someone you like, you got to go after him straight away in order to avoid disappointment, and that's what we're going to do. Might not have a full scout report on the guy, but after Brian got relegated last season, I looked at their team, I saw who might be available, and I saw this guy was having his contract up coming the end of the year. I'm not missing out on him. It's Tariq Lamptey. Yep, an excellent player that came through the Chelsea Academy. Brighton picked him up really quickly, saw the long-term vision for this guy, and he's been a really solid pickup for the Seagulls. He also now represents Ghana on the international stage as well. He's got a few caps for the Black Stars at senior level, and now he's going to be playing his club football in Devon on the back of being released by Brighton and Hove Albion. Tariq Lamptey picked up instantly. Welcome to home park. Tariq Lamptey is the sort of first team quality we're going to need if we're going to make the next step with Plymouth. And as much as we appreciated the vet Edwards last season playing every single game, we need someone with a bit more quality. Lamptey's definitely got that. And of course the concern is the height. He's a little lad at 5'4" with embarrassingly low strength, but he's absolutely rapid, so quick enough to get away and catch up to opposition wingers, plus great technicals both when going forward and defensively as well. For a first signing of the season, that's a real statement of intent there. This guy's absolutely class. And I'm going to stick to that same philosophy. You see a player you like, forget the full scout report, just go straight after him. And there's a player that I found when looking for Dutch free agents who I know nothing about, but something that really draws me to him, the stamina. Look at this, 85 to 95 the range. You're going to assume it's around 90. And at 25, he's not done growing either. And you know, this is my sort of player, man. Hard-working, looks semi-versatile as well. And right through the middle, this guy looks like he'd be an amazing pickup. Let's bring him in. DM. Something I try and do more and more in my career modes nowadays is use players I've barely used before, if ever used before. And I don't think I've ever come across this guy before in one of my saves, let alone used him. But based on his stats, I'm really excited to give him a go. Coming in on a 5-year, £7,600 a week deal as our next man in at Home Park. Welcome to Plymouth Argyle, Davy Vandenberg. And again, when you look at this guy's stats, he's a Docks player. He's a Docks player, man. The stamina is amazing at 87. Sadly, not getting any better, but at 25 years old, I think we can restart his growth with a full season of first-team football, and that's what he'll get, because he's got great versatile stats. Looks good when going forward, but also solid defensively as well. He'll slide right in to our midfield pairing. Davy, welcome. Whilst I don't think we're done for free transfers yet, I did say for the new season, my 2 permanent transfer targets were the 2 loanees from last season. Ibrahim Sissoko, who was sublime going back to Toulouse, but also Darko, who returned to Leeds United. They were knocked out in the semis of the playoffs last season. We made the final. Whilst we might not have gone up, I'm going to say to Darko, why not run it back? He's had 2 successive loan spells at Plymouth, and now we're bringing him in permanently. Darko, it's time to return. And I don't think we should have to spend that much to get him as well, because you got to remember, I often say it's like, when you see players at a club, and there's better players in the same position at that club, oftentimes the club you're buying from, I said club a lot of times there, will let you sign him for less than valuation, because Leeds will have far better CDMs right now than Darko in terms of rating. So, well, 2.4 mil, but I don't think I have to pay that. I really don't. I'm going to hardball Leeds. I'm going to say, guys, you've got plenty of cover in that position. Darko's not your absolute best. And so, yeah, there we go. We should be able to get in front of valuations. So a little tip for you guys. When you notice a team has got better quality players than the player you're going in for at that club, don't offer the valuation. You can 9 times out of 10 get it lower than that. £1.8 million, and Leeds say, yeah. Darko and Sissoko were great on loan last year, so there was no doubt about it. I was going to try and bring them both back permanently for the new year. And whilst I had to spend a bit more than I was hoping to spend on his contract, I think in time he'll prove to be worth every single penny of that high weekly wage. Welcome back to Home Park, this time permanently. Darko, again, 6'3", 68 overall. When you look at the stats here, he could definitely be converted back to ball-playing defender with that strength, with that jumping, and defensively as well. But I prefer him right where he is right now in that DM spot. I think he and Davy are going to be an awesome 2-man combo in that DM area. Okay, team's starting to take shape a bit now. Most crucially, we've added to the depth as well, which is our main concern. But I do want a new CB with Paulson retiring and Galloway out of contract come the end of the season. And of course, I want to bring Sissoko back. But really, other than that, I'm liking how the team is looking, man. I'm really happy with those 2 freebies as well. And there's still a few more I could get as well. And I know who I'm going to go after as well, because a few years ago, this guy had fantastic potential, but he never really kicked on. But now after getting released, I still think at 26 years old, he can get a little bit better. And whilst I haven't got a scout report on the guy, his Ranger stats show me he'll be more than good enough to be a starter in this team. Just signed 1 Dutch lad on a free transfer. Now I'm going to get another one. Armando Obispo. Never used him before, but a left-footed centre-half with great passing ability. Perfect for our playstyle. This could be another gem to come to Home Park. Oh yeah, this is an absolute bargain. And whilst the contract is reasonably expensive for our somewhat small budget, he'll be worth every single penny. Never used him before, but really excited to give him a go. When I talk about first-team quality, this guy's got it in abundance, and he's still getting better as well. Welcome to Home Park. Armando Obispo, 26 years old, 6'1", and again a left footer with great passing. I mean, he's absolutely perfect for our system. It'll be my first time using him. It'll be mentoring the kid, Albie Blackburn as well. This is an absolute steal. Our 4th signing in. So far, every deal has been fantastic. Long may it continue. So on the back of those signings there, it's the contracts that are making the dent in our budget right now. Darko on 12 grand, Obisco on 10, and Tariq and Vandenberg on 8 apiece. Don't forget, we also gave new contracts to Morgan Whittaker and Wright and Randall. So whilst again, we've only spent 1.8 million on actual transfers, it's the contracts that are eating up our budget. So 3.6 million. I think what we'll do is we'll try and sell a couple of players, including Brendan Galloway, and then we'll look to reinvest that money on maybe 1 or 2 more signings. Quick sale in the end then, Brendan Galloway off to the Den for £760,000. Might be the only sale we make in the entire window, to be honest, due to our small squad and not many players we can sell for a decent profit. So our budget now 4.5 mil. there's still a few freebies available, but as I said before, you've got to be quick, because if you do advance a few days, you'll notice that a lot of them do get snapped up, and that has happened with a few other players as well, such as Jason Malumbi, Brandon Thomas, Montiel as well. But I did say I was going to bring him back alongside Darko as well, and on the back of that sale of Galloway, we've got the cash to re-sign him permanently. Ibrahim Sissoko was great last season in that CAM role. I said alongside Darko he was going to return. I'm not going to leave him in France. Ibrahim, let's bring him back. That's why I made those signings of Tariq Lamptey and Vandenberg and Obispo really quickly, because if I left it a few days, they would have gone elsewhere, and I simply could not afford to let that happen. So again, with Toulouse, I think we should be able to get him for under market valuation. If not, then around that, if not a little bit more. But I'm not predicting we'll have to spend that much. A big sell-on clause there, which I don't really want to include. But I still think, again, 3.2, 3.3 mil, that's probably as much as we need to pay. Not even that in the end. 2.9 mil and Ibrahim returns. Due to the expensive contracts we've had to pay out, I'm not sure if we've got enough money to bring anyone else in, but for our fifth and maybe final signing, I'm buzzing to have him back. Like Darko, he was definitely going to be returning this year if we had the cash, and we do, and thus he re-signs on a 5-year, 10 grand a week deal. Welcome back to home park, Ibrahim Sissoko. And again, 22 years old, 71 overall. I think I can get this guy into the high 70s at a push with dynamic potential. I might even be able to get him to 80 or 81, but he's got great technical stats, really solid player, can play on the flank or through the middle, and that's where he'll play once again this season as our CAM. Sissoko back in Devon. Yep, that's us done for transfers, I think, because we need to save some cash to send our youth scouts out. And speaking of youth scouting and the academy, well, I think for the new season, what I'm going to do is give a couple of contracts out here to make sure no one asks for a pro deal midway through at the end of the season. And the star of the academy is no doubt this Togolese winger man. I mean, Togo looks like a hidden gem for a nation to scout, but Robert Barr, already quick at 16 with 90 to 94 potential. He might only be 16 years old, but I'm not gambling him asking for a pro deal coming the end of the season. So he'll for sure have potential to be special. What I'm going to do is loan him straight out and get him some first team football elsewhere. Yeah, potential to be special. We need to get this guy some game time elsewhere. And I think I might do the same with Finlay Leach as well. Put him in the first team and loan him out. We've already got 2 Hungarians in the first 11 right now. We could put these guys in the first 11 too, but I like to limit just how many players I get from one nation, unless it's the nation I'm playing in. So in this case, it's England, because kind of realism, but also because I like to vary the players we get from different nations as well. Where's Finlay? He does indeed have shown great potential. So we'll get him loaned out as well and see how he gets on elsewhere. So there we go, 2 quick loanees for our youngsters at the academy. Finlay Leach is staying in the Championship and going to Sunderland for a couple of years. We'll keep a close eye on him there at the Stadium of Light. And Robert Barr is off to Madeira. Hopefully ends up developing like Cristiano Ronaldo did when he was a young lad on that island, as he's off to Nacional in the Portuguese league for a couple of years. We've got 2 bids here as well. One for Horvath, who I thought I added to the loan list. I guess I didn't. But also Bundu from Coventry, who I gave a contract to at the end of last season. He'll be staying here for at least 1 more year. And not prepared to let go of one of our speedy impact subs. Right, first of the month then, let's send our scouts out. Where, of course, as always, we send one to the same country we are managing in. And, of course, that is England, looking for those homegrown talents in Devon and maybe Cornwall as well. But see what we can find. I'm actually quite tempted to look for a goalkeeper, you know, because Conor Hazard, he's still here, but has his deal at coming the end of the year. I might actually look for a new shot stopper between the sticks, you know. Let's do it. Let's look for an English goalkeeper and see if we can find an ex-Jordan Pickford. As for the other 2 scouts, well, as I mentioned before, EA have done a great job this year adding in a ton of new nations to scout, and thus I want to keep on using those new countries, looking for new talent from places we've not been before. And we've done England, we've done Hungary, we've done Togo as well. Let's go to a continent we haven't gone before in North America. And there's a few nations here that would be so cool to scout. But the nation I'm going to go to is a nation that had some underrated talent for quite a few years. I'm talking about the likes of Wilson Palacios, Izaguirre, who Celtic fans will know well, but also a streets won't forget player who scored one of my favourite goals in the Premier League era from inside his own half. You probably know his name. He's the most capped Honduran player of all time, left back. Maynor Figueroa. Oh, he had a bullet of a left foot, he did. So I'm going to look for a left back from Honduras. Wilson Palacios was a DM as well, so I'll look for a DM too. So a left back and a DM. And there is Aguirre as a left back as well, to be fair. So let's just do that. Look for a left back and a DM as well and see what we can find from Honduras. So a new country to scout this year, Honduras. Let's see what we can find. As for our third and final scout, well, once again, let's go to a continent we haven't gone to yet and choose one of the new nations for this year's FC25. And I am so glad EA have added this country in, because I think they're one of the countries to look out for within the next 2 decades. They've got some great young talent. The Dutch legend Patrick Kluivert has just taken over as the head coach, and I think they're a nation to look out for. Some good talent, but also a lot of players with dual nationality with the Netherlands and Indonesia as well. So let's go to Jakarta and look for some Indonesian talents. Again, I don't like how you've got to specify a position. I want to cast the biggest net possible, but instead we'll go for an attacking midfielder and a winger as well, as we're going to one of the new nations, Indonesia, who again I think have got a really, really bright future in football. So it's going to be Honduras, Indonesia and England once again. And with our budget now dropping down to just under 3.25 million, I'm not sure we'll be doing much else in the transfer window, and certainly not today on the back of making those 5 new signings and sending our scouts out. Let's play our first game of the season, heading into this one. For this year, once again, my goal like last season is the playoffs, if not top 2. We were good enough for the former last season. There's no reason we can't do it again. Our first game of the season will be the Baggies at Home Park. Let's start off strong with 3 points on match day 1. Come on, the Pilgrims. I've given Whitaker the armband for the first game of the season as well. I don't know if you guys are the same as me, but like, even though the captains technically don't really have any kind of impact whatsoever, as it's not the start I wanted to see, Sissoko going down early. I still want to choose one which seems right, you know, but that is the worst possible start to the season. Ibrahim coming back 13 minutes into his second debut, he's gone down with an injury. Right to Whitaker. Keep going, keep going. I'm going to send it over the top for you there. There we go. Who's that in the middle? Who else? Kante! Oh, what a goal that would have been. On the chest, on the swivel, on the volley. Look at that Drogba out there, let alone Adebayor. Good save, still 0-0. Drogba was so good at that back in the day. Like, controlling the ball on his chest with his back to goal. And what a tackle that is by Obispo. And then swivelling and shooting. He scored a goal against Everton, I think it was like that. And it was so clean. Amazing technique. As we're still tied at 0-0 here. As things stand up for a goalless draw on match day 1. Not the best of starts. Certainly could be worse. Tariq Lamptey into Sissoko. Looking for Kante. There he is. Kante gets away. Shoots. Saved. Still goals at the break. Easy, easy, easy. Oh, ball inside. It's a brilliant ball inside. What a save that is by Connor Hazard. 20 to go. Playing for that new contract. Can either side find a winner? That's fine. Vandenberg on his debut. Oh, not the greatest of opening games, but I'll take the positive, the clean sheet and the point on match day 1. Last year we were a low scoring team, so for this season, with 3 weeks to go before the window slams shut, do we look for a new striker or trust King Kante will come good again? But that'll do it for today's episode, guys. Big fan of watching the season opener. Hope you enjoyed it. If you had, then please drop a like. So you all have a fantastic day, and I'll see you for the next episode. More games, the Championship, the League Cup, and possibly new signings as well very soon.